Tyler Toffoli, the Montreal Canadiens, thanks for joining us here on the podcast. I'll open with a similar question to the one we just had with Nick Suzuki, which is what a crazy 12 months it's been for the Montreal Canadiens. What a crazy season it was. Capped off with a Stanley Cup final appearance. A great season for you as well. No question. More just, can you walk us through what it was like to be Tyler Toffoli, Montreal Canadien last season?
Well, I think mentally it was the hardest year of my career in the sense of, I guess you could say like the anxiety of not being able to go out, go for dinner, not go get your groceries. Basically, they're telling you, or have your wife, like my wife did all the grocery shopping and took care of all that. So it was definitely a scary feeling of trying to stay away from COVID, because if you got COVID, obviously you felt bad for yourself, and then you're nervous that you're gonna like take your team down in a way. So it was weird, a season I'll remember forever. But then obviously I had a ton of success, and going into a new team, I didn't know anybody. So I mean, I knew of the guys, but I wasn't necessarily friends with anybody. So I was going in blind.
So when you got there, I'm curious about that. You go into a situation where you don't really know anyone, and you had a great year, so you obviously felt comfortable. Like, who were the guys that you immediately sort of gravitated to? Who were the guys that made you feel welcome and became your buds?
So Gally and Lecky, two great guys. They're best friends, so I'd play Xbox or Call of Duty, whatever, with them. That's kind of how I became friends with them, was playing video games, because you weren't, allowed to really hang out either.
Right.
And then Jake Evans, we lived in the same building together, so we'd be, walking to games together. And once things kind of lifted a little bit, we started hanging out a lot more after games and stuff, just at the apartment. And our girls got along great too, so it worked out.
Because the thing is, you had other opportunities, and some of them, I think, like Carolina, were quieter places. And you left some money on the table, I understand, and you chose probably the hottest market in the league. Like, Montreal, to me, is the most intense place. And I didn't realize you didn't know anybody. So you really went out on a limb before last season, Tyler.
I think, talking with, my agent, Pat, him being from, Montreal, it's, he didn't push me in that direction in a way. He just told me straight up, he goes, if you play there and if you have a good year, you're a star, basically. Yep. I'm like, wow, like that's the complete opposite basically of playing for the LA Kings. You can walk around anywhere and nobody really notices, nor do they really care. But in Montreal, I'm walking around with my mask on and a hat on and sunglasses, and people still recognize me. So it was the complete opposite, basically, of playing for the Kings. But I mean, I got a taste of it in Vancouver, and obviously in Vancouver is nowhere near like it is in Montreal. But it was still, I think that's kind of why I wanted to go to Montreal, because the way the market was in Vancouver, and going for dinner and people knowing who you are, it was a cool feeling. So
you just wanted your bills to be picked up.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Not all hockey players are like that. There's a lot of guys that just want to be, I'm going to be an NHL player at the rink, and then when I'm gone, I want to be just private citizen. So you're not like that. You like being a hockey player 24/7. I'm not just citizen Toffoli walking down the street. I'm Tyler Toffoli.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, obviously with me having a good season last year,
it helps.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it could be different within the next few years, but I just think it's so fun, and you're not going to be in the NHL forever. And like I said, I've seen kind of both sides of the spectrum now, and last year was just a lot of fun, and hopefully now that we get more fans and everything kind of is leaning towards going back to more normal, it's going to be only getting better.
Let me ask you one thing about your season. And I was going to do this on Hockey Night in Canada, doing one ringside game that I did, and it was you guys against Vancouver, and then you were injured for that game, so it this hit evaporated. I'm going to bring it back here for this podcast. Spot quiz. When you played in the OHL, which team did you haunt the most? I.e., which team did you score the most against? Know?
I think it was Peterborough.
Peterborough Petes, 100%. You
Very
just
good.
haunted the Petes.
Yeah.
Last year, you...
Playing in the square box.
That's right, yeah. Dump it in the corner. It's going to shoot out in front of the net, right? You know the deal.
Exactly.
You haunted the Vancouver Canucks last year. Do you have an explanation as to why? Midas touch for you.
Tyler Toffoli revenge tour?
It was funny because obviously that was a big topic when I was scoring all the goals, right?
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things where I don't know, like for me, when I get hot, you get hot. And I mean, besides, like Ovechkin and whatever, he scores 50 goals in his sleep a year. For me, it's just finding the rhythm, being confident, and I hadn't scored until I went to Vancouver. I think it was like the 4th game of the year, and it wasn't like gripping my stick too tight. I was like, damn, am I going to score, or am I like, am I a bust right now? You know what I mean? And
new team,
exactly,
new teammates,
exactly. And I scored the first goal. I was like, okay, and I scored the second, and I scored the third, and it was just like, all the boys on the bench, they're just laughing, and then of course the media started going, the revenge tour, and I was just the whole time I was laughing, and I'm still really good buddies with some of the guys on the team, so it's like it was just like it was awkward, you know what I mean?
They understand it's a business.
Yeah.
In last year, there's a book to be written about the Montreal Canadiens last year. Mm-hmm. Like you've been around a while, you've seen successes, you've seen disappointments, but I don't know if I've ever seen too many seasons that had all in one. And then it didn't end in the off season. There was Weber, there was Price, there's Kotkaniemi. Like, what was the wildest thing that happened as a Canadian last year in the off season?
I think when we got shut down for COVID there, when Army ended up testing positive, and then we got shut down for a week, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And I had just gotten hurt, so I was like, okay, like whatever, it's fine. Perfect. I'm not going to miss as many games. And then we saw the schedule that came out after, and we ended up playing like 17 games in 31, 32 days or something like that. And we were tired. We were burnt out. Everybody kind of wrote us off because we started the season so well. We were scoring goals at will, and then we couldn't score at all. So we literally we were doing everything. And so when we came back from the COVID break and we're playing all these games, we were playing well, and then we got burnt out. Slowly got in the playoffs. I think Galley had missed he broke his hand or something.
Yeah.
So he had just come back. I think he played a game in Laval.
Yep.
Him and Pricer.
Price. Yep.
And so it was just like, what are we in for? Like we didn't know. Like Galley probably didn't know how he was going to come back and play after missing 2 months or whatever he missed. And so just going in the playoffs, everybody had, no hope in us, going against Toronto especially. And I think when we beat them, it was like, oh, you beat the Leafs, they can never, get out of the first round or something. And we're like, okay, like whatever. And, we go to play against Winnipeg, and everyone's like, oh, they have no chance. We beat them in 4. And then it's like, oh, they're playing Vegas. They have no chance at all. Beat them in 6 or whatever it was. And it's like, it was almost like never ending. And obviously it would have been like the cherry on top to win it all and have, Pricer and Webby win. But it's just the way it was.
That Toronto series and that Toronto comeback was real special, and that kicked it all off for you guys. At what point as a team did you get the feeling that we got these guys? We can win this thing.
For me, I think just seeing how well Pricer was playing, it was just like a matter of time that we were going to start scoring goals. And I think Muzz got hurt in game 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we're going to Toronto, we're winning game 7. Like I have no doubt in my mind that we're winning because he plays, 28 minutes of heavy minutes a night. And he's an incredible defenseman. So I just thought when, unfortunately, he got hurt, but for us, it was like, all right, now let's finish game 6 and go to Toronto and win game 7.
I wanted to ask you about Weber. Did you know Did you know that this might be it for him as you guys played?
I didn't know, but I still don't really know what is going on. You know what I mean? Like I've said to people who have asked me before and whatever, what's wrong with him? I'm like, the guy's an absolute warrior. He was, he's played hockey at 230 pounds and played hockey the right way for so many years. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to Montreal here in a week, and I'm sure I'm going to hear more, and I'm going to talk with Birds and see what, see what's going on.
Now, you talk to Weber, right? But you just don't talk about that, I assume.
We last time we spoke, we were talking about the Blue Jays and how they needed to start winning games, and,
and
have they ever start winning
That's
some
all
games
it took,
here?
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but he's a great guy. Just his presence alone in the locker room was like, you walk in and you're like, oh, that's Shea Weber. Like it's really cool. So,
before we wrap up, I'm curious: are you someone that sets personal goals for a season, and if so, do you have any for this year?
Not necessarily. I think I've always kind of wanted to do better than my previous year, so hopefully I can do that this year. But we'll see. I think I'm old enough now in my career that I just want to win games, and the way that I play, I feel like I play the right way. I play 200-foot game, and not trying to sound cliche at all, but that's just how I was taught to play coming in the league with Daryl Sutter as my coach. You got to play the right way, or you're not going to play at all.
You're not going to play.
You're playing some American teams now. The division is done. Who are you looking forward to playing the most? I mean, juiciest, of course, the Montreal-Boston rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think?
I'm excited to play Boston, and I'm excited to go back to Staples Center.
Yeah.
And do that for the first time, because I was supposed to go back with Vancouver, and I think it was like maybe 2 games, and then we would have played there, and then COVID hit. So,
you ready for the video?
Yeah, my dad said I'm going to cry, and I said, I'll bet you $100.
There's one last one I just have for you. Is I heard a great story when you were on one of your junior tears. You had a chance to set a record for most consecutive games with a goal or a point. And I've always been fascinated with Dean Lombardi, and I heard he showed up for this game.
Oh yeah.
And would you go like -4 with no points? You got
It
mad?
might have been -5 to be honest. It was I think it was something ridiculous. It was like a 27 game point streak or something. And Fuchs calls me and he goes, "All right, Ty, Dean and I are coming. We'll see you downstairs after." I was like, "Okay, awesome." I'm confident. I'm like, "Oh, no problem." -4, -5, whatever it was. I'm walking out, and Fuchs is, I swear to God, he's trying not to laugh as I'm walking out. And Dean, he's like, I think he said something like, "Tyler, I came all the way to Toronto. I thought you're supposed to be good." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And you're my boss. I'm really nervous. But I think that's got to be Fuchs' like favorite story about me.
We've all heard it.
Yeah.
It's whenever your name comes up, that's what I got a story about the Toffoli.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Listen, continued success,
Thank
and
you.
have a great one with the Habs this year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys.